What's up, guys? Welcome back to Super Sketch. More of the same. Like I said, all the audio on these videos are going to be crap, and I'm not going to be able to use them because we have music playing in the background. So this is part two of the assembly of the Buick. We're going to get the short block done today. Get the whole rotating assembly on. If you're watching me right now, I'm doing clean the piston, and right now I'm installing the rings. And I've never used a ring installer. I've always just rolled them on this way, but I've also never broken one. I think as long as you're semi-careful, you should be fine. And especially with these big old things, these rings are twice the size of some of the other rings on different cars I've used, or different cars I've put together. But it's early in the morning on this end, and figured I had a little bit of time. Too lazy to go into the shop, so I would make another video. And this one is going to be stabbing the pistons. I got to use a lot of the hardware. The rods are reused, the pistons are reused. Everything sits, I didn't have to bore it over, and everything was golden. All we did was a hone. We were putting new rings in. Pretty much, it's all straightforward. I even use like the crappiest ring compressor to stab the pistons that you can buy. I mean, it's only a few dollars, but it worked. I just couldn't find my other one, and I don't want to start ordering there's these really nice ones that you have, and there's no moving parts. You just kind of set it on top of the bore, and then you slide the pistons in, and it like progressively gets smaller, like a V, and then your piston slides in, and nothing. It's literally that easy. You just move it on. And I guess if I was gonna do like a lot of 350 Chevys, you know, a lot of small blocks, then I would, because they're bore specific. And I don't know, like, I'm not gonna be doing a lot of big blocks. I just do motors as they come into the shop, for my own purposes or for customers. But I think you'll see a lot of cleaning, and I'm just gonna keep harping on that. Anytime you're doing an engine, like, cleanliness is next to godliness, and I'll keep cleaning, and I'm gonna prep the block again. I think I've already prepped it. I'm about to prep it again, me and Zeus. But I wanted to do like a little shot up here up close of getting you like what it's like putting the rings on, and I'm just lubing everything up here, like the pin that the piston actually slides on. These are press-in style. You have to go to I have to go to a machine shop to get them done. They heat them up really super hot, and then the rod itself, they heat it up super hot, almost glowing red, so it expands, and then they slide the pin in through. And then, you know, when everything cools, it contracts again, and it holds it in, and the piston's allowed to flop in there. I'll show you on some forged pistons. We had floating pins, and it's kind of how it sounds. It's the pin's able to move, and the rod's able to move on the pin, instead of just the pin's stuck to the rod and only the piston's allowed to move. Instead, everything is is fluid in there, and less drag. And those have little retaining clips on the side of the pistons, by the skirts. But as for this, pretty straightforward. Everything's gonna work out. Like I said, I got to keep all the bearings the stock sizes, and I was really super excited about that. Apologize about some of this dead time here. We're gonna have it because I didn't scrub through the video as much as I should have, because it was hours and hours and hours. I think when I put it all into the program, I mean, it was 6 hours of footage that we're gonna condense down to 30 minutes or something. I cut out as much as I could, and you know, we're super fast moding it right now. But here's that crappy ring compressor. I think I got it from an auto parts store, or shit, you can probably go get it from Harbor Freight. And you see me, like, I'm always gonna be constantly moving everything. I want everything to be fluid. Always revert to like your assembler's manual in like regard to your piston, your rings and stuff, because they have to be located differently I mean, if you can, you want to move them all to where none of them are on top of each other whatsoever. If it doesn't come with a manual, that's the way you're going to want to do it. But like later on, the Evo build, his rings had a desired location for the top ring, the compression ring, the sealer and the scraper, the oiling rings. So just always revert back to the manual, and if not, just try to rotate them. I'll show you in that video, because that's going to actually be more of a how-to video, how to put piston rings on and such. This is just more of well, you want to see the motor get built, and I did it in this fashion. Like I said, we're in a time crunch, and you know, we have full-time jobs, so we're doing this at night. You know, we'll fucking run it ragged till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, because these were weekdays here. And we'll get tired. I mean, it's just tiring, and like you see us drinking here, we'll be drinking. Probably not the best thing to do. Another thing is, in the last video, I was using shop racks for the cleaning, and I guess I didn't tell you guys that we were using denatured alcohol is what I like to use for my cleaning, and coffee filters. The reason why I use coffee filters is because they don't leave any residue, and that's what we're doing right now. Just in there cleaning all the bores, and I'm rotating and cleaning the crank surfaces again, where we're about to put the rods on, and I'll even do the lifters and stuff for no reason. But just clean, and then clean again, and then if you think you see a speck of dust, clean again. And like I had my husky here, so I mean, there's obviously some hairs that are going to be hiding around, but his dog the dog he brought up from Texas seemed to get pretty lonely, so I, you know, brought my shop dog over. Not a shop dog. He turns all black instead of having a white bottom. And you'll see a couple of our friends here. Derek's over there still doing the Evo stuff. You know, I don't know what he was doing here, if it was porting or polishing or doing something. And then our other buddy over here is the tech guy. He handles most of it. But pretty much still cleaning. Let's see here. Let's look at that first piston already. And like, I don't know, everything went smoothly on this engine, relatively speaking, as much as it can. And I'm just setting it up so we can get the pistons in. We talked about my assembly lube that I like to use. So they make these nice little skirt things that go over your the bolts on the rod ends, so you don't mar up either your cylinder walls, or you don't mar up your crank whenever you're pounding it in, because you need to pound it in. With my cheap little hammer, my cheap little nylon hammer wasn't gonna cut it, so I had to go get a bigger hammer in a minute. But I pretty much have Zeus down there. Jesus, he's guiding them. Like when they start getting down pretty close, he grabs them with his hands and makes sure that we don't mark them. And you'll see me later, because I'll be stabbing some pistons by myself, and I'll just have one arm underneath, you know, kind of guiding it while I'm hitting it on the top. So as for lubricants, like on the cylinder walls, I cleaned them. I put oil down them, just kind of what I had in my my squirt gun there. But I've used ATF. It's just as fine. I mean, it's actually a detergent. But it's all pretty straightforward. Just as long as you seat that the piston ring compressor pounding away, you'll be fine. I've never broken rings going in, even with these cheapies, and it is a cheapie. You can tell it's flimsy. But as long as you're diligent, you don't have anything to worry about. And we'll be doing torque specs and everything. I don't think I just pulled up the manual and then, you know, do all the torque specs, and I'll do them in a, you know, same progressive pattern. You know, don't just go ham and do it all at once. You know, you do it in 2 or 3 steps. But as of now, regarding the shop, everything's going good. I haven't been filming as much because I've been getting a lot of work done. I had a customer come in yesterday afternoon with a 2012 Jetta. A, impossible to get parts. I couldn't get any parts that I need. B, like, all right, it's nice working on new cars because nothing's rusted, nothing's seized, everything's when if you put the right socket on that bolt, it's gonna come loose, and everything should be there. But god dang, I don't know if it's German ingenuity or the German quality, but they make everything so convoluted. I had to tear off her whole front end. I mean, just to get her headlights, you have to take off the front grille, and then I had to get to the bumper cover and take that completely off, and it was just such a pain. There's so much stuff. Luckily, I got it all back together, and no missing bolts. So it's always nice when you can tell a customer that there's no missing bolts. Sorry, you gotta have my coffee. I'm not gonna make it. Just back there playing with Diesel, trying to get it with the shake and stuff. Diesel's my dog. It was hilarious because earlier in the afternoon when we were there, which I took like a week off work for this, his dog was just, my dog could care less, and the other dog was playing with him, trying to dominate him and stuff, and my dog could care less. But as soon as that water bowl came out, man, it went down. His dog wasn't allowed to drink water for the longest of time. It was great, and they even got in a little fight over the water, and I just thought it was hilarious that it took a husky in 100-degree heat to bring out his attitude. It had to be for the water. But he's just hanging out. We have the tech guy back there. He actually designs video games. It was really cool. I got to chatting with him about it. But I don't know. I know I need to put out more videos for the Evo, but like I said, it's either this or that. Which one do I do? So the Rivi I've had longer. The videos are not necessarily older now, but I've need to get them out because the Rivi, I have even more videos of the Rivi, like suspension work and stuff that I've done. Even rebuilt the drum brakes up front because it was too cheap to do a conversion to disc. It's only like a 5,000 pound car or something. I'm not worried about it stopping. But I don't think it's quite 5,000 pounds. Right now it doesn't have any interior in it. I completely gutted the interior. All the floors and stuff were good. I mean, if it would have sat any longer, it would have been bad because there was the insulation that they use on the bottom from the factory back in the day. It got water in it, and it soaks up the water, and it holds the water, and that's what rusts out your floors. That's why you see all these muscle cars with no floors in them, because that insulation soaked up the water, got wet, and then it just seeps that wetness into the metal, and that's what gives you your rust. So like first thing I did when I got the car is I ripped all the interior out, ripped out the carpet, and like in a driveway in 105-degree heat, Jesus and I sat there with like grinding wheels and such, and knocked off all the rust and rhino lined it. So right now it's rhino lined and rhino lined, and I've started putting back in sound deadening, Dynomat, to go back for the insulation for the road noise. There was a couple holes in the back, where the back seat where the bitch seat goes in the back. There were a couple holes in the floor. I thought about going the legit route and buying the actual patch panels, cutting them out and welding them in. But on that car, I'm not looking for like a factory replacement and such. I did do the motor right, but I just cut some metal, patch it in there, and it will work. I mean, it wasn't structural in any sense. It's just, didn't even have to patch it if I didn't want to, but it'll help with road noise and such. So yeah, I had to go get a bigger hammer to get these pistons in. Because God, I mean, even so, apparently that these Buick 455s, they are the first thin wall castings that they made for big blocks. So it's supposed to be, I don't know, like 80 pounds lighter than like a Chevy 454. Dog's hitting the camera. It's supposed to be like 100 pounds lighter than a Chevy 454, but yeah, it's still heavy. And as soon as we start throwing in this heavy ass crank and the pistons, and each head themselves weigh an exorbitant amount. They're like 90 pounds a piece, just in heads, throwing them on. I mean, they're definitely two-handers for sure. But getting aluminum heads, I couldn't justify getting aluminum heads. And I like, the route I went with this engine was stock-ish. You know, I wanted to keep it stock. Thankfully I got to keep all the bores, the stock size. You know, I didn't even have to cut the ring wear off of the block, because you saw the piston rings that we put on, and you know, we're compressing them to put them in there. They expand, and that's what gives you your seal. That's what gives you your compression, your power. So they'll start to wear, and up at the top, when the piston hits top dead center, there's a little gap where the ring doesn't touch. I mean, the piston's all the way at the top, but there's a little gap, and that never has contact with the rings, so that never wears down. And sometimes that can be significantly smaller than the actual bore of the block. So you have to go get that cut, because if you don't, when you go to install new rings and such, it'll come up. Sometimes the rings will come up and they'll hit that and they'll break, and then, you know, back to the drawing board. You just ruin your motor. So this one, it didn't even, they were able to take it out in the hone. They didn't even have to cut it, which that stuff I just leave to the machine shop. I know you can buy the tool, but yeah, just, it's already at the machine shop. You know, you're there getting it cleaned and you're getting it inspected. And I just have things like that. I just have them do. Same thing with the cam bearings. Like, I just didn't have the tool, and I didn't want to justify spending a couple $100s on a nice tool. Because if I want to buy the tool, I'm going to buy a good one and not the cheap one like that. I say that even though I'm using like the world's cheapest ring compressor, but I was in a time crunch. I needed to get this done, and you know, I was going to be assembling another motor soon, and I didn't have time to order one, you know, order a nice one, have it come in a week later. So I just picked up what I could get, and it works fine. It assembled this, it assembled the 4G, and it's gonna assemble, I think I got a small block, but I haven't done any recording on the small block. So alright, so besides the food breaks that we just had, where are we at? Still doing the pistons, more of the same. Just roll the rings on, stab them. It's nice to have a partner here. We're trying really hard to get drunk and fucking finish this motor up, because it's like, we don't leave the shop till like, you know, 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning, and we had to get up, or at least Zeus had to get up. I didn't, because I took a week off. I don't know, it's just been so long. It's been a couple months ago. Like, the weather was crappy and it's cold, it's outside and raining, but now it's all hot shit. Like 110 heat index, so inside the shop it's like 115. But what are you gonna do? It's like, we don't have AC in the place, so we just handle it. Oh dude, I'm so happy with the way this motor came out. Probably if you see the picture of it up front, I guess on the thumbnail of this video, God, this motor just came out gorgeous. All the time I spent. I still have prep work videos that I could put out, but those are just boring. I'll use them for like this, but more of a podcast, because I'm not gonna be showing you anything. It's like, hey, watch me polish this 45-year-old part, because it's aluminum and I want to make it shiny, you know. Or, you know, watch me polish this cheap China water pump because it's aluminum and it has to match the 45-year-old cover already polished, you know, and painting the intake and doing all that sort of crap. I have the videos. I'll probably just use them for a podcast, you know, like an update video for the channel, or you know, the shop in general, which there's going to be some changes getting made going forward. Hopefully these type of videos, you know, turn out to where you guys like them and such, because these are a lot easier to do than some of the other ones. But I have the other ones. It's just a pain sometimes to record. It takes me twice as long to do a menial task instead of just slamming it out, getting it done, and then worrying about it later. You know, like these stopping and explaining and talking the whole time would have just been super annoying. Like some of the videos I just recently did, which I probably should have recorded, for a customer, that V6 Mustang that was in the background of one of the videos, he had a bad exhaust leak post cats, so is like weighing options, and should I just replace the muffler, what should I do, blah blah blah. And I get on the list, I get on Craigslist, and then I immediately find a complete catback system. No, not even catback. A complete system from header back with O2 sensors off of a Cobra, and ended up being a legit one off of a legit Cobra, because they have the Cobras in that year had independent rear suspension, and instead of the post mufflers, instead of going over the axle, they like dump out to the right. They were the only way they had room, and they come back in to the exhaust tips, and it was a true H-pipe Cobra exhaust, and everything would have bolted up, but apparently Cobras have a different manifold on the passenger side. I didn't know that until I got it back at the shop, and then I looked at it as soon as, like, when I was getting ready to unload it, I was like, I knew immediately, because I've dealt with these Fords, even like Fords for some reason come to the shop quite often. You know, the ongoing battle to fight a Ford and its check engine light is crazy. But it was square. It was a rectangle instead of being a cylindrical like the normal ones. So I knew immediately. But whatever, you just handle it. You take care of business. I got the old one off, and I decided to. I got everything off the car from headers. I started it up, open headers, and it was loud and sounded like a dumb V6 Mustang that was just made way too much noise. And I got it all off, and what I ended up doing is cutting off the collector from the old exhaust and welding it onto the new one. And to be honest, I should have recorded it, because that's a mod, like, for everything that it is. If you own a V6 Mustang, it's the only car you got, and, you don't want to invest in, a V8 or, a faster car, but you want to, upgrade your exhaust system cheaply. Man, that's the thing to do, because immediately when I take on a project like that, the first thing I do is I do research. I go onto the interwebs, I go into the Googles, and I see what's up. I see who else has done this, and you're looking at forums, you're seeing, will this work, can this work, can you make it work, and there was nothing really. They say yeah, blah blah blah, but I didn't know about the Cobra thing, and that I was gonna have to do what I did. And another thing, being able to do that, I didn't have a welder, I had to take it up to a machine shop, but at least I should have recorded it, so I would have been able to show you what you needed to do to be able to make that happen. So in return, I got that complete exhaust system for, like, I think it was $100 or $200 or $175 or something like that, with just with O2 sensors that I didn't use because I reused the ones that were out of the car. The mufflers, like, it came with O2 sensors, cats, mufflers, and it was a true H pipe, and just like the nicest chrome tips ever. And I slammed it on there, I made it fit. I had to do my own hanger style, so I had to go to like AutoZone, and I had to get just universal hangers, and I had to make it work, but I did. Also, the O2 sensors, they were located further back on this exhaust system, so I had to pull off the O2 sensors, and I extended all the wires. I just soldered in, I just cut them all and soldered in longer wires. And I should have showed you how to do that, and 'cause that's all stuff that, when you're making stuff custom fit, you gotta know how to do that kind of stuff, or you gotta at least learn. There was a point I didn't know, and nobody taught me. I went online, figured out how to do stuff, and did it. So I don't know, I should have recorded stuff like that, but I was just I don't know. We don't have a lift, and oh, look at me. I'm trying to figure out how nice it would be just to start it up and just fucking write it like that. But no, it's just we don't have a lift, and like I'm climbing underneath the car all the time, you know, and like I broke my creeper, so like I'm having to slide in, slide out, and it just gets annoying, and I have nobody to hold a camera, so I didn't record it, even though I should have. It would have made a good video for you guys. You guys would have enjoyed it. But you know, it's my fault, and I'll get better at it. I need to keep recording. So where are we at? We're still stabbing pistons. Still more of the same, but you know, this is the way a shop should be in my eyes. You know, we're just a whole bunch of friends just hanging out here, drinking and having a good old time, assembling motor, working on cars and stuff. You know, but whew, I don't think we finished it this night. I think here later in the video, you'll see me cut away, and it'll be the next day, the next afternoon. I come in and I finish it out by myself, just because we couldn't get it done. It was too late and we were too tired, and it's smarter to, you know, put it away. We wrapped it up and put it away, and instead of making mistakes, you know, just wait till the morning. Honestly, I can't believe I'm rambling this long in this video. Like, I'm struggling. Like, leave comments and questions and stuff that you want to answer. If you want to know about anything, or if you want to see a particular video, if you want me to show you how to solder, how to extend wires on an O2 sensor, and you know, I have some laying around I can do. I mean, help me out, because I mean, I do have content, but it's just, yeah. What do you guys want? What do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see more videos like this where we're talking, we're just chatting away, or do you want to see more videos of where it's more of a how-to intenseness, or do you want to actually see some of the super sketchy stuff that we do? that's kind of rough. A lot of it's on our own cars, and you know, because we try to, when we work on other people's cars, it's we try to be as professional as we can be. But yeah, like, I don't know, like Old Smoky, I left the key to the shop with the guy, and he was gonna clean it and put it back up, but he didn't put it back up on jack stands. He left it on just my jack, which he tried to ruin my jack, and my jack's starting to fail now, but whatever. And like, I come in, and you know, I'm jumping around the car, I'm like, fuck, why is this moving so much? Why am I swaying back and forth so much? And I look underneath, and like, it's barely on the lip of the jack, and you know, the jack's just in the middle, and the whole car, like when I was jumping on it, you know, I was getting in the engine bay and stuff, like I was rocking back and forth on the jack, and like it could have fell off at any moment. And it's just like, damn, you know. But what are you gonna do? Still took care of that thing. Finally got it running. I don't want to spoil anything. I think Zeus lost the footage. He was doing a lot of the editing on that one, and he lost the footage, so I might end up just, if I could find it, the archives on it, which I should, I might just do one of these sort of videos. And here's where we cut to the next day. Same stuff. Added coffee filters, cleaning in the piston anyway, and gonna stab it in, and like, I don't know. We haven't had a lot of cool, like, go fast stuff come in to the shop recently, and like, we're always doing stuff to our cars, but you know, I think Zeus did a standalone for his S14, and he had it running, and I don't know if he has any footage on it, but we had it running, and he had a tune on it, and apparently it was strong for his NA. He's gearing up for his turbo build on that. So he went standalone. You know, monitor things now. Maybe squeeze a little bit more power out of it now. But I guess he showed me pictures of it that something went wrong and it fried a hole in the board of the ECU, because he's badass over here, and he went and he made his own. Instead of spending $700 on one that is all pre-made and stuff, he gets the board and all the pins and all the capacitors and everything, and he sat there and he soldered it all in, and literally made his own to save a couple $100. I would have just paid, because I don't know, that's way too much effort. I'm good with a soldering gun, but I ain't that good. But he should be gearing up for that. The 3000, 87 gas, 87 octane gate, ended up being an O-ring, but I tore off the whole intake. I had to take off the whole, because of transverse problems, right? It was underneath the intake, the plenum, so I had to take off, the whole plenum, and to replace that O-ring. And while I was there, I was leaking a little bit of oil in the back valve cover, so I did my valve cover then. And the 3000's running great, strong. It's been strong since I rebuilt the motor, but little things like the injector O-ring was leaking, and she's back onto her 91 octane, or 93 I think is what it is right now. So no knock, because it was a panic, dude, whenever I put 87 in it. I did it 2 gas tanks in a row because I've been driving the work truck, so I don't drive the 3000 very much, so I only fill the 3000 up maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months, and between then I fill up the work truck 3 or 4 times. So I'm just used to slamming in 87 in the work truck because I don't care about it. And I would just hit it and like halfway, or like almost all the way through the pump cycle, or finish out putting the nozzle back in, I realized it's 87. It's just like, fuck, I'm such a dumbass. And I would run to the auto parts store and grab like 2 big things of octane booster and slam it in there and hope it circulates. And I don't know, the guy at AutoZone started calling me 87 because he'd make fun of me every time I'd go in. Twice. Fuck, I don't know. But I don't know, maybe 87 eats up the O-rings on your fuel injectors. Nah, but I got it fixed. It's running strong. Always tinkering with her because I've owned her for 8 years, and I'm always tinkering with her. I'm probably gonna plasti dip her pretty soon because I'm too cheap to get it painted. So I'd rather spend $150 on some plasti dip than, what is it, like $1,000, $1,500 on a good paint job, which you should do anyway, but too cheap, too frugal, man. Here we go. We should be winding down. I think this is the last piston here I'm putting on, and this is me doing it by myself. It's no different. I don't know if it's the last piston. I'm just talking. It's more the same but different. You just gotta be a little bit more careful. Do it yourself. It's still the same procedure that you saw me doing earlier. Putting in the bearings right now. Just taking it easy. Alright, yeah. And here, I'm trying to wait until I do this, but see, I'm beating it in. You see how I reach my hand in there here in a second, and I'll guide it in. Or I already am guiding. I'm pulling on it in my left hand, put it in the right place. Here we're gonna go through and we're gonna torque everything back down. Like I said, just follow your instructions, your build sheet, or like if you go to ARP, then follow ARP's instructions. The break-in cycle on this engine went well, I guess. Fired first try. We had a hell of a time getting the timing down there for a minute, because I custom made my own linked spark plug wires, and they're perfect, all beautiful. But then I was like, then you have to adjust timing, right? So I didn't calculate that in, and it's fine now. What I ended up having to do is pulling the distributor out and moving the teeth over a little bit, and then slamming it back down so I would reset, because I think I set the base. I think initially I set it at 6 to get it the first start, but I think the base timing right now is closer to 12 on base, and then the distributor is mechanical and vacuum advanced. The old one was. The new one, the new HEI, is just vacuum advanced. So it took me a hell of a time to adjust that, because with the old wait, am I lying to you there? It might still be mechanical advance too. Like it had when you talk about mechanical advance versus vacuum advance, vacuum, when your engine pulls more vacuum, it, you know, activates the diaphragm and it actually turns, rotates you more timing. Mechanical, it has these little weights in there. When it spins up, centrifugal force puts them out, and that's will give you more timing. But we're done here, so another distributor day. But you guys stay awesome. All right, later.